Hey, Whammy. So I have today, some of you may know about this gun. Um, most of you probably don't. I think I've only made like one video on it. But it's my main concealed carry. Um, what do you think it is? What caliber do you think it is? What do you think my main carry is? Um, I know what you're thinking, but most of you are probably wrong. This is my main concealed carry gun. Okay. Now, this has a story behind it, and it's highly modified. And it's funny because if you look at it, just a quick glimpse, it may not look highly modified, and that might be. It depends on who you are. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's like no cuts in the slide. There's no RMR cut either. I had this before the, RMR cuts was a thing. So what this is a Gen 2 Glock 22 is what this started out as. And I seen it for $320, I believe it was. I think it's $320 after tax. And I couldn't resist it. I'm like, that's too good of a deal. Gen 2 Glock 22, I don't care for 40. Don't worry about it. Just let me get this gun and then I'll go from there. So boom, I buy the gun and I take it to go shoot. First thing I find out is it's malfunctioning like every 2 shots. Changed mags, it's malfunctioning like every 2 shots. All right, what's the problem? As I looked into it, I found out it looked nothing like this, guys. So it was just all black, regular stock Glock 22. Found out the extractor was no good. So I went to work. I went to work, and I fixed the extractor. I shot it, and I did more mods. I shot it. I did more mods until I ended up with this. Okay. It is, you could call it a mutt because it's not like it's just filled with all ZEV parts or all what's the Apex and whatever. It's a bunch of different parts put together. Now, let me tell you, I've shot more Glocks than most people. Hell, I've shot more pistols than most people. Period. The reason why it is my main carry and my favorite pistol I've ever shot, period, is because I customized it for me specifically, right? Like everything that I prefer, that I like, that etc., that's what I did with this. And so without question, this is the best shooting Glock I've ever shot, bar none. Obviously that's a little biased because again, I customized it for me and everything that I like and everything that I prefer, right? So shoots well, carries, everything. It's everything that I want. So I'm going to get into everything that I done to the gun. Okay. I have to write this stuff down. It's a lot. Not a lot, but there's a good amount. So, all right. So I have a extended slide release. That is from RYG. Okay, so that's a Rock Your Glock extended slide release. And you know, I don't, some people may buy things just for looks. Now, I'm not saying that I don't do that at all, because I do, but the majority of this is function. This is literally because I have little hands and I cannot reach that unless that's extended. Okay. My little thumb, and I barely get that. Okay. Without having to adjust my hand. Right. So it was absolutely needed. It was absolutely needed. And that's all I can get my thumb on. All right. So that was like one of the first things I did, is the extended slide release. One of the things I did as far as getting this trigger how I wanted it. I am a kind of a Glock trigger snob, and so I went with the Zev Competition trigger spring, a 6-pound Zev Competition trigger spring in here, and that helps with the overall feel of the trigger, the reset, etc. I also have a Ghost 3.5-pound edge connector. I love the edges the most. I've been dealing with 3.5-pound connectors since 2005-06. The edge is my favorite so far, and so that's what's in here is the Ghost Edge 3.5-pound connector. It just makes for that trigger to be so smooth, man. I love it. And we also have a USTAC, I call it USTAC, USTAC steel guide rod. So let's see, can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. No matter what, my Glocks are going to get a steel guide rod unless they have double recoil springs. So like my Glock 29 and my G40 have the factory guide rods that it came with. But the rest, I put steel guide rods in them. My P80 build has a Blacklist steel guide rod, titanium nitride. This one is USTAC steel guide rod. Okay, so steel guide rod in there. And the barrel that you see, that is an Alpha Wolf 9mm conversion barrel. So remember, it started off as a 40 caliber Glock 22. So immediately I knew it was going to be either 9 or 357 SIG. So I went to a gun show, and they had Alpha Wolf and 357 SIG or 9mm conversion from 40. And I went with 9mm. It was kind of a hard choice, but because I love 357 SIG, but I went 9mm, and I'm glad I did, actually. So it's a threaded 9mm, 40 to 9mm conversion barrel from Alpha Wolf. Okay. And as you see, it sticks out there because it's threaded. There we go. Right. Threaded. So that when the time comes that I go, oh, I'm going to go ahead now and get me a suppressor to throw on here for when I'm at home, then I have the ability to do that. Obviously, because it's a Gen 2, it's also going to lack the ability to do certain things like a light, right? But, you know, that's another story, and maybe I'll make a video about that. But not that I couldn't be in a situation where I would need that light, because you can, and it's happened. It's not fake, it's real. However, And I've been in dark areas, dark situations, never had a problem, not even close. So anyhow, um, as the Alpha Wolf 9mm conversion barrel threaded, uh, and the magazine release here. This is a GS Glock Store Performance Teardrop Mag release. Again, small hands, I needed that. I can barely get to that. So I needed that. Both of those extended, I needed that. Small hands. Some people don't actually need that. And honestly, if you don't need this, if you don't need that, I wouldn't do this, because this became a problem until I found an answer for it. There would be times where I would pull my gun out and the mag would fall out because this is up against my body all day. And as I'm driving, sit down, get up, and this ends up getting pressed, then the magazine is actually, you know, loose. So when I get up or whatever, the mag just falls out. Happened in a restroom. We were driving from Arkansas back home to Washington State, stopped at a restroom in Wyoming, and you know, as soon as I got in there and went to grab, the mag fell out, hit the ground, bullets went everywhere. Crappy mag. And, you know, anyway, that's that. But I learned my lesson there. I understood. I said, okay, that's a problem. That wasn't the only time that the mag had gotten loose from me just regular carry. So I'm like, there needs to be some type of, someone's got to sell like a stronger magazine release spring, right? Someone's got to. So I'm Googling, looking. There was only one company. And what's crazy is I don't think they sell it anymore. I tried to contact them. I went to their website. They don't sell it anymore. I bought 2 of them. I wish I'd have bought 100 of these things because it's actually genius, okay? I'll get to them in a minute, though. So the Magwell, that's a Rogers Tactical Magwell down here. It is fully functional in both ways in that it will help guide that mag in there if you are slightly off, right? And also it does get your hand, you know, helps get your hand up there and get that perfect grip every time immediately. As soon as you grab the gun, boom, that's there. Okay. Let's see here. And it's strong as well. I want to, you know, put that out there. This has dropped. The gun's dropped. This is not you know, I haven't babied this gun. The training I've done with this is crazy. You know, in the woods, gun dropping, falling, rolling, you name it. All right. I had this during all those videos. You should see there eventually. So boom, there's that. All right, the Rogers Tactical Magwell, love it. And the Vickers Tactical Slide Racker, that was another thing. So this here, as you see, that's a different back plate. It's a little wider, okay? So you can see, right, it's a little wider, and it helps in case I would have to say rack this off my belt or whatever. I have this now, so that's most likely where that would come from if I had to do a one-handed, if that crazy scenario occurred, right? But I have that as an option, as well as if I grab this from the rear, it helps just grabbing. Like I don't have to just rely on grabbing the slide. I can literally just, you come back and push up against that's sticking out, and it makes it easy to rock it, you know, lock it back if I'm not using the front serrations. Okay, so it just helps. It's just extra help. It's better than the factory for me. So a Rock Your Glock extractor, non-LCI, meaning round indicator. So if you put a round in your Glock, your extractor will kick out, and it has this extra little thing to it there towards the end, and that pops out. You'll know there's a round in the chamber. For me, I actually notice a round in the chamber better when it's flat. So I like the flat extractor. I prefer the flat extractor all day long. When I put a round in there, it is very obvious to me there's a round in there. When I have the other one in there, sometimes I can't really tell. It's just weird to me. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if it's just my eyes. I don't know. But because it already looks like it's already poking out in the first place. And then when you put a round in the chamber, it's like, is it, you know, I can't tell. But when it's flat, once you put a round in the chamber, it's very clear there's a round in the chamber, because that kicks out, and it's like, it's very, very obvious for me. So I purposely wanted the flat face extractor. Okay. I have a NDZ Performance Titanium Safety Plunger. So I'm not going to take the gun apart and show all that, but that definitely helps with the trigger pull, the reset. It's very smooth. It's nice. The trigger is 2.6 pounds. It's a 2.6 pound trigger. Okay. And that's due to the combination of things that I have done to the gun. Some of you know about this gun already. The nickname was Scarface. I have a new slide now, so I don't really even need to call it Scarface anymore. But it's because the original slide had these scratches right here, some really bad scratches, that I was polishing the slide and accidentally went to a too strong of a grit, scratched it. I was super sad and irritated, and I started calling it Scarface because there were scars right there. But now I have a upgraded slide. So I went ahead and I got the, just like the barrel, I have an Alpha Wolf 9mm slide. Okay. So now it's like nothing on here is 40 cal at this point, right? Nothing. Because frames, those Glock frames were 9mm frames in the first place, second gen. They were made 9mm, and then they would just do a 40 cal upper, is basically what Glock was doing. So anyhow, that is an Alpha, and that's custom. So you see here, I have the regular up and down grips here. And then here I made them go like, you know, diagonal. You see, they're not the same, right? They're not the same. That kind of comes down diagonal, and they're closer together. And this is just straight up and down. And I do, you know, use the front serrations. That's the word. I don't know what's wrong with me. The front serrations I use a lot. It's just easier for me. And so before I had this, though, I was using this most of the time, the Vickers slide racker. Now I have this. I mainly use the front serrations, but I have both options. And I just like the look of having two different. I didn't want them to both be up and down, both sides, or both to be, I want it to be different. I want the front to be different than the back, the serrations. So that's just weird me. That's how I wanted it. That's how I got it. Ghost Ink Maritime Cups. The aftermarket Maritime Cups that are the spring that comes up to it. There's these 4 parts that kind of stick out. And it's made so that if the gun's underwater, one, if as soon as you come out of water, you can pull the trigger and the gun will cycle perfectly, even though it just came out of water. Like immediately out of water, it's going to function. But that wasn't the reason why they made it. And they made it because if it gets dirty, dirt, gunk, and whatnot gets in there, oil, whatever, it will still function even when it's dirty. It's more reliable than the factory maritime springs that Glock has. So the factory OEM maritime springs, although a factory Glock is extremely reliable, the Ghost Inc. maritime cups are an upgrade for sure. It's been tested hundreds of times, and it is more reliable. It makes the gun more reliable. So I have those. And it makes it to where you can shoot underwater. Like, seriously. You can Google that. It's been done plenty of times. You put a Glock underwater with the maritime cups, it will shoot and function and cycle underwater. Pretty cool. I have the Ultimate Arms recoil cushion shock absorbers in here. So it just, I can't say that I noticed some huge difference with them in there. Some people claim they can feel the difference, but it helps with wear and tear with metal on metal banging. So I put it in there, and it may be adding to the whole shooting experience. I'm not positive, but this gun's ridiculous. So maybe it does help. Already said the Alpha Wolf 9mm slide. Shooting Sports Innovations mag release catch spring. So the factory spring for your magazine release is 7 to 9 pounds to press that and drop the mag. Okay, so it takes 7 to 9 pounds, typically 7 pounds, to press this, and the mag will fall out. The Shooting Sports Innovations mag release catch spring is this metal sleeve. Basically, it's got a very thin, small drilled hole down the middle of it. It's about this long, and it's got a small hole through it, and it's very, very, very slim, very slim. And the normal magazine catch spring goes inside of it, and it becomes like a sleeve. And so when you put it in there, it's now thicker than the original sleeve, or the original spring, right? The magazine spring. It's now thicker because it goes around it, and it's basically just as long as it. And so now it's much sturdier, and it takes more pressure. It goes from a 7 to 9 pounds of pressure to 12 pounds of pressure, 11 to 13 or 11, 12 pounds. 11 is the minimum. 11 pounds of pressure to hit that, and the magazine release, I believe it's 12 pounds. I'm almost positive on that. But that might be because it says 11 to 13 and I just put 12 in my head. But it's much, you need more pressure to drop it, but it's not hard. As you see, I can still, just one finger, excuse me, just with one finger, I can still hit it and the magazine drops. It's not like it's hard now. It's just, it makes it so that when I'm carrying it, that doesn't accidentally get pressed and the magazine drop. Once I put that stronger sleeve in there, it's never ever happened again. I've tested it. I've been rough with it. I fell on my side with it, rolled around. It will not drop unless I specifically hit that, because that sleeve in there, or that spring has a sleeve around it now that makes it much more sturdy, much stronger when it bends. Okay, so that's one piece that I have in here that most people do not have in their Glocks. I guarantee you the vast majority do not have that piece in their Glock. And I did it not because I just wanted to be cool, but I literally was having a problem with this and I needed a fix, and I found it from a company called Shooting Sports Innovations. A Sawrez depressor plunger rod. Most people don't have an aftermarket plunger rod. I do. It's heat treated. It's stronger than the factory OEM rod, and it's actually a little heavier. And I weighed it compared to the factory OEMs, and it's clearly heavier. It's steadier, stronger, yet smooth, very smooth, right? So the trigger pulling process, and it's just a stronger rod, so it's more reliable. I haven't heard of many rods breaking, but to have something that's made of better quality, is stronger, can only help. So I was upgrading it and said I might as well, and I did it. And Shadow Systems firing pin. So I have a Shadow Systems firing pin in here, not the factory OEM firing pin. It's Shadow Systems. It is a harder, stronger firing pin than the OEM. It is an upgrade. And you can Google these things. Don't take my word for it. Go ahead and Google it. Shadow Systems firing pins are an upgrade from the OEM. So it's less likely to break, to nick, any of that. Plus it has the maritime cups. The spring I didn't change. It's a factory spring on the firing pin. I don't like changing those. I don't like messing with those. I've seen reliability issues happen when you change those. I want mine factory. Plus it would have dropped the trigger pull down to like 2.2 pounds, I believe it was. So I didn't like that. I wanted it to have the factory spring in there. Reliability stays up, and 2.6 pounds is I don't want to go below 2.5. I could. I have the ability to. Don't want to. 2.5 is perfect. So those are all the oh, and the sights, the rear sights there. You can see there. All right. Just the rear sight. The front is the same. All right. The rear sight is, they're like a bright green. And then the front is still the factory white. And that works for me. That works just great. It works perfect. I love it. And they're heightened. They're higher. And they're made of a stronger material. And that's all a bonus. So this is my main concealed carry. I carry full-size gun. I carry a full-size. I don't like little tiny guns. I have some subcomp like Glock 29, but even then I'm carrying a 15-round mag in it. At the least a 12-round extended mag. I just don't like small guns unless I absolutely have to. So fall, winter, spring, I'm usually carrying full size, Glock 17 size. Okay. And I love the way it shoots. I love the way it handles. I love the way it feels. Oh, the stippling. I didn't even go there. That's because it's not a beautiful, special looking stippling job, right? It is a stipple job that I did myself through lots of research. And what I found is when the stippling goes at the angle that I have it, the grip, it's like it bites my hand. If somebody was trying to pull this out of my hand, it's going against the grain and it's grabbing the skin in my hand, right? It's trying to hold on to me as much as I'm trying to hold on to it. And even here. And it makes for the best feeling, best grip on a Glock I've ever felt. This is ridiculous. This is like, you wouldn't believe me anyway. It feels amazing. So anyway, yeah, that stipple job is off the chain. It really is. The only thing I haven't done is this here and get that a little higher, but I don't feel that I need to. It feels perfect just like that. It feels it doesn't get any better than this. This is tailor-made for me. Now you might pick this gun up and you may, but for me, there's nothing better. Check it out. Motherfucker.